Okay. From a study from 2001, we know that there is one smelter town in Armenia, that's Alaverdi, and most of the soil samples taken from there were exceeding the US EPA action level for lead and arsenic. You can see that 87% of the soil samples taken were exceeding the international maximum concentrations. We used the Nidon XRF 723 multi-element analyzer. There was a recent study conducted by us in the same city which detected arsenic contamination in all of the samples taken. These were mainly composite soil samples. So we are not saying this was a full-scale risk assessment, but I would say hazard identification. And we have detected chromium contamination, lead and cadmium contamination in some garden soils. So these are the areas. We took samples from all over the city. This is Alaverdi. And in the middle, you can see the smelter. Sorry for being so fast. These are some numbers about cancer rates in comparison in Alaverdi city and Gavar. And I will go over them very quickly. You can see that there are big differences between two cities. And also we had information on Achtala, which... Okay, sorry. Yeah. Okay. I'm going... Okay. So these are the numbers, but these are not rates. These are raw numbers, okay? And it's taken from an existing report. We also did some sampling in Achtala in 2001, and we found lead and arsenic contamination in 11, 17, and 58% of the samples taken, soil samples taken from Achtala. And we have some findings from 2013, and you can see that all of the samples had arsenic levels above the international maximum concentration. We had chromium contamination, cadmium contamination, and lead. And Achtala has a tailing pond. We are pointing out the right soil samples taken from the church in Achtala, and you can see that arsenic is 12 times above the international maximum level, lead is 11 times above the international maximum level, and cadmium is slightly above the international maximum concentration. Yes, and yes, we will go to the church. And a few words about our partnership with Blacksmith. And through this partnership, we conducted toxic site identification program. I will skip some of the details, and I apologize for that. But we are going to have all our slides on the website. And with permission of our speakers, we will put the slides, the PDF version of the slides, on the conference website. So we have conducted observations and descriptions and rapid stakeholder analysis. We interviewed 115 participants from the communities. We took some water and soil samples. And this was the methodology that we used in inductively coupled plasma mass spectrometry. Total dissolution was performed prior to the analysis. So we investigated 19 communities that were impacted by mines, active or abandoned tailing ponds, tailing pipes, and one active and one abandoned smelter. We took 92 composite soil samples. And we found the following, that 65% of the residential soil samples were exceeding the chromium maximum contamination concentrations, international maximum concentrations, 39% in the kindergarten playgrounds and school playgrounds, and 51% of the agricultural soil samples. For cadmium, it's 5% and 3% for the agricultural. So for arsenic, we found above the international maximum concentration in 52% of the residential soil samples, 39% of kindergarten and school playgrounds, and also 34.5% in agricultural soils. A few words about describing these communities. The tailing ponds were in neglected state. There were lack of proper fencing, warning signs. Some abandoned tailing ponds were used as pasture sites or gardens. There was no systematic or adequate monitoring going on. We observed multiple accidents, breaks, and leakages from the tailing ponds or tailing pipes. They were located near residential areas. And we learned that in some communities, tailing materials were used as construction materials by the community residents. And we discovered that children were being exposed to heavy metals through contaminated soil in yards and playgrounds. And a few pictures from those communities. And this is the school and the schoolyard. The tailings are in the schoolyard, and you can see that children are playing there. Community roads affected. And we also learned from the residents, these are all reported by the residents and mayor office workers, that the residents have to sell their property to mining companies without proper compensation. They are receiving low salaries. The workers are not covered by insurance, and the community members also are not covered. There is a fear in the community about raising their concerns. Some of the houses are damaged because of explosions and vibration, and also their agricultural products are not considered competitive because they are considered as contaminated. And of course, this study had its strengths and limitations. This is the first large-scale study conducted in Armenia. Samples were tested in a laboratory test certified by a European reference laboratory. However, we didn't have extra quality control measures for this project, and this is initial assessment, so it had a limited scope. We had limited number of environmental sampling done, and they were mainly composite samples. So this shows that we have a lot to do in Armenia. We have to do more thorough risk assessments, educate the communities, and we need to clean up immediately in certain areas, particularly the playgrounds. And, certain issues should be taken into consideration by the industry, and also the state needs to have appropriate regulations and policies, and we need to find a way to appropriately protect the health of the workers and people living in the mining communities. Thank you.